think you're on mute, Megan.
Hey, everybody.
Great to see you. So as we're getting ready, Haley Reardon's going to play some music. At 14, she was Bostonian of the Year. She's an amazing folk singer, and she loves science, and she's dedicating all her proceeds from today to science.
Thank you.
Songs for science. Yes, yes, yes. I dreamed that you were blind and I went walking, looking for the light, but then I lost it, trying to bring the right thing home to you. And I see now that nothing is a waste until it runs out. I built myself a castle just to climb down and rifle through the fragments of my youth. And I've got everything I've ever felt lined up in pretty little bottles, one way in and one way out. My love, it's gonna be a while till I know who I am again after you. After you. Thank you. Thanks for listening. I don't know how long you wanted me to play for, John, but thank you.
Haley, why don't you play for 2 more minutes, and then we're going to officially kick off with our most amazing, I think the most amazing human on Earth. If we found life in other galaxies, I would want her to represent our species.
Okay. What song?
That's you, Megan.
I'm so looking forward to hearing it. Okay. All right, sure. Here's another little snippet of an original song of mine. This is called Everything Else. I was just a kid back then, but I didn't fall in love back when. I was just the morning's friend, trying to make a way for the sun. I was just a flower child, digging in the dirt all day, hoping that I just might grow, growing up to be okay. Over, under, breathe, thunder, I am not my savior. I won't forget me like I forget everything. Now it's just the way it goes. Every time you hold my hand, I can feel the burning stars just above a breaking man. Oh, and you're breaking heart. It's hard to make a clear-cut blade, 'cause don't you know the broken break and the breakers stay the same. Over, under, breathe in, thunder, I am not my savior. If I won't forget me like I forget everything.
Great. So thank you, Haley. So everyone, welcome to this science fair. The genesis of this idea was I reached out to Jennifer Spencer, my daughter's 9th grade physics teacher, who my daughter absolutely adores. And I said, hey, you know, this has been a weird year for many, especially for teaching science remotely. Why don't I reach out to a few people and ask if they want to do a demo for your students? And Jen teaches more than one class, and she said, well, we could do it for the whole grade. And she connected me with Ed Weiser, who after serving in the Peace Corps decided he wanted to serve young minds and help them get excited about the sciences. And he came back from, I think, the Samoa Islands, and since the 90s has been teaching at Brookline High and runs a great department. And here we are, we're recording this. So for those who can't make it today, who may have track practice or who are working, you'll have the ability to see this, and we're gonna break this up, and maybe this will be a nice annual tradition. To kick it off, we have one of the most remarkable people. Every day I meet her, I write in my diary, I got to hear from Megan Smith. She's someone that celebrates everyone, wants the best in people, and wants to right wrongs. And she's like a superhero. She's an American engineer, really proud of her engineering background, grew up in Buffalo. She's a technologist. And she, in September of 2014, the President of the United States, Barack Obama, asked her to be the 3rd Chief Technology Officer of the U.S. And assistant to him. And she served gloriously. She has papers in some library or in the Barack Obama library. There'll be papers of her leadership and what she did for the country. There were stand-up meetings every morning with the cabinet members and leaders that Megan was in to advise and give perspective on technology. She previously was at Google. I think Google Earth and Picasa and some other companies came into Google because she reached out to them and say they should be part of our suite of services. She co-created the Women Tech Makers when she was at Google and Google X. Everyone referred to her as if she was a verb when she was there. Let's Megan Smith this. And then before that, she was the CEO of Planet Out, a very important early leading tech company. You can look it up. Before that, she was at General Magic, which is one of the companies that if you hadn't had, I think technology would be very different. They created, I think, what was the precursor to the smartphone. I have my communicator here from Star Trek. I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't work. It doesn't really work. It's fake. But she built that before iPhone came out, so on. And she's co-founded the Malala Fund. She's amazing. Today, she's the CEO and founder of Shift7. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker and the woman who, like I said, if we had first contact, I would want her to represent our species. Ladies and gentlemen, Megan Smith.
Wow, thanks, John. It's amazing to be with everybody. I am gonna share my screen because I like to use like photo images when talking so that we can kind of think about some of these things. And I guess I was really lucky in my high school because we had mandatory science fair. Like every single child had to do science fair and science and technology projects and things. And so we learned confidence and we learned how to do these kinds of things, even though sometimes there's stereotypes in our world around who does science and math and everybody else, kind of this weird separation of the universe's skills. But the thing that I guess I wanted to share most is I have 2 boys. They're now 18 and 16, but when they were in 3rd grade, they had this amazing teacher. And this is from her classroom. And the biggest thing in the classroom was this, that said, in effort, there's joy. And this idea of joy and this idea of science and technology in its best form being about love. It's about discovery. You know, for example, we're talking today at the speed of light. I'm going to hold up, there's an undersea cable, right? So we talk at the speed of light using the internet. You know, some people discovered things about the principles of waves and light, which has caused engineers to then be able to build on those scientific ideas. So this idea of discovery and curiosity and wonder, and then this idea of ingenuity or engineering, like solving problems in the world with science and technology, and then community. right? Because you don't do it alone, it's a team sport. And sometimes people have this idea, stereotype of it being different from that, but it really is together. I just wanted to share this picture of Katherine Johnson, who is here receiving the Medal of Freedom from President Obama. And you can see that cool cartoon of her calculating our way to the moon. Just this idea of, you know, how everybody is awesome and has been the whole time. And one thing Katherine said was share your passion. And so for all the adults and the youth on this call, you have passions, things you're interested in. And we're lucky that we have over 7 billion people. And so not everybody has to work on everything. You can work on the things that you love the most. And when you're younger, it's important to do and really practice a lot of different kinds, but that follow your passions, that you do the things that you love. I was really lucky, as John mentioned, to get to work on the beginning of smartphones. And so this is the Macintosh team. And there, I want you to notice that there's a lot of men and women together. It's not very racially diverse, but it's gender diverse. And this is some of the images of some of those early smartphones. You know, you have to start somewhere. So science fair and this kind of experience is to like prototype and begin. And I physically built a lot of the things you see on the screen because I'm a mechanical engineer. I like to work on making things in these forms. That's an early touch screen on the left. And you can see we had to have little prototypes that we could plug into the computer where the software was. This is early 90s. Another example of starting somewhere was me. Also, young people, we might not, you know, young people don't always have all the skills yet, but you begin. And so I got really lucky to work on this my freshman year of college. In the summer, I was in the machine shop and I got to learn how to use machine tools and build a lot of the stuff on the left. And it looks really, you know, complicated, but it's actually not. You just have to start. And eventually these things flew on the space shuttle. I want to encourage you to watch this movie, Inventing Tomorrow, because it's about youth in high school who are seeing problems. One of the young women in India saw this in the rivers and this stuff blowing around. So she just started measuring all the lakes and water and creating a shared map about the dangers of nitrogen and other kinds of, you know, too much ingredients and too much stuff coming from soaps and other things into our lakes. So I encourage you to watch that. And kids are from all over the world. They're your teammates on solving things. And it's this idea of active STEM, like doing the projects, not only learning the facts from others in the past, because a lot of times in school, we have a lot of things to learn from the past in order to build on them, but it's important to start building on them earlier. And so to be able to do that. And for me, I saw that Jimmy Carter was putting solar panels on the White House when I was in school. And I started making alternative energy and green energy projects. And that's, you know, practice makes permanent. So if you do things, you learn how to do things. We did a lot of work trying to get computer science, not only for all students, but for all subjects. One of my favorite things is this idea of working on your hometown for your homework. So this is in Los Angeles, and they assign city projects to the college students to solve with the city team. So think about how you might solve things in Boston or around the world. Real problems, and again, go back to Katherine Johnson, what are you passionate about? Choose not what your teacher tells you, even though we love our teachers. Ask them to help you explore questions to see what your passions are. I also wanted to share that there's chief science officers now, just like I was with President Obama. I was the chief technology officer. There's over 800. And I hope your schools will start to have a CSO or a couple of them, and you guys might run for that office. Also, people do things, youth do things, not only the science and technology, but this is our colleagues, the Havasupai community who live at the bottom of the Grand Canyon who are threatened by uranium mines. One of the things the youth there are doing is they're doing social media about science and technology challenges and solutions. So think about the whole team, every part of the team, and what that is. This is the science fair at the White House. And these are little kids from, they're from Oklahoma, and President Obama is asking them, you know, what did they make? They made a page turning robot. And they were explaining they need to help others using science and technology. What an amazing thing to be little and learn that, but also to get to wear capes, work with your friends, goof around and have fun, but do something important. And he asked them how they did it. And they said, we had a brainstorming. And then he said, really? And then what did you do? He said, we made some prototypes. And so this idea of practicing and prototyping, and, you know, just like in art, you make lots of different versions of things. Haley opened with music, you try. They got started, and what if we all got to do that? And so I'm really happy your teachers are doing this idea of collective genius. You guys might have seen the movie Moana about the Polynesian sailing capabilities, and this is the Hokulea. They sailed around the world. And when they came home, here's some of their youth, they actually did a grand challenge, and they tried to see how they could clean up the alawai behind Waikiki Beach. And so elementary, middle, high school students, college students, all working on science fair-like capabilities on a real problem in town, using those skills together, really doing active STEM. Our company, Shift 7, we're always trying to do things around like studio, like go into the lab or the art room or wherever and co-make things, get people to meet each other, ecosystems. Like maybe the thing you're working on, somebody's already solving. Could you team up with them? And can you share well? Can you storytell well? This is a student project at the college level. This is a self-writing little airplane. And so I really want to encourage you to realize like the humanity and data and connectivity, all this stuff is getting really close together, and students can make things like this. This is about community, and it's a mapping thing that John talked about, the mapping. This is Lahore, Pakistan. At the time, there wasn't much what's called metadata available so that you could suck the names of the streets and the locations of schools and hospitals and other things onto the map. And so people actually literally, just like Wikipedia, went on the satellite imagery and drew themselves and put the names onto the maps. And across 6 months, everyone there drew themselves onto the map. And that's the kind of activity where there was missing metadata. And so think about how you can do things that get other people involved because we have the internet. We did a conference with President Obama on all the frontiers. We looked at personal frontiers. So as you're thinking about science fair projects, what are the things you might do about personal learning, mental health, about precision medicine, all kinds of personal things. Local, what about a smarter or wise city or community, solving local problems, solving national problems? We focused on AI challenges, global problems with the environment, interplanetary problems. We're starting to have commercial space. We're starting to continue, and we're continuing to explore. There's also huge challenges. The algorithms that people have made also create terrible bias. Joy Buolamwini from across the river on Cambridge was working on face recognition bias, where the camera on your computer or your smartphone, the algorithms haven't been written for everybody's face. And so people with darker skin aren't being seen as much as people with lighter skin. People who are women or more female aren't being seen as much as men. So it's really unfair. 99%, 90% recognition of lighter skinned males and 70% for young women of color. So we really have to make sure our technology is not only for everyone, but everyone gets to build it. This is a festival at the top called Burning Man. And at the bottom is the Zatari refugee camp in Jordan. And so I was in this camp just before Malala went to visit, and I thought it's interesting to put things next to each other because in the Burning Man Festival, everybody's having an amazing time. It comes out of joy. Of course, the refugee camp comes out of great sorrow and tragedy. The thing about these systems, though, is that they're the same size and the same budget. And one of them runs with great empowerment of people, and the other one runs a little bit like prison. You're locked down. And so can we think about systems and how we could do innovation together on systems that we have by starting somewhere on solving problems? How could we make an inclusive future of all this stuff? And so the United Nations gave us these goals, and I hope you'll look at them when you get a chance and think about which ones you're passionate about. We do a solution summit where we just ask who's already solving these things. And we get inbound from, let's see, last time we did it, it was 2019. Because of COVID, we've waited, so it's our 5th year, 1,400 submissions from 141 countries in 3 weeks. People doing genius things, solving this. So you can look around. So Beno Juarez is from the Amazon. He's indigenous, and he's making a floating Fab Lab studio for the Amazon. So the people who live there could have these kinds of capabilities instead of having to cut down the trees. So thinking about innovators. This is a group from last year. I'm going to show you Bernice's Bamboo Bicycle Company. She's in Ghana. Bamboo is a great way to sequester carbon. And if you don't have a big steel industry, you could instead make bikes that are beautiful. They're doing some artwork here. They use, and then they, like Tom's shoes, every 10, they give one to school children to get around. Great transportation. This image is just to show that Bernice needs teammates. We all need teammates. And so you're not doing these science fair projects or any projects alone. You're doing them with others, with colleagues, with your families. with teachers, with people in the community who might help you. And that's what people are doing here with her. You know, this is Boise, Idaho, this is Gaza, this is Afghanistan. All over the world are these innovation communities, almost like a Wakanda layer of innovation and innovators that you can be part of. These are Native American innovators in the Dakotas, Henry Red Cloud with solar, Rose with food. We do a program with MIT with Native American innovators, and we're about to meet on Monday and Tuesday again. Island innovators, you know, island people in islands, you know, face challenges because they have limited things, right? The resources. Also, they face the gravest challenges with climate change. So innovators there. And this idea of doing a hackathon or like a festival for solving is happening. I hope you'll join some of them. We did a hackathon for foster care. So couldn't technology and science be used for anything? Like if we can know where every Amazon package is, why can't we know where the children on the border went? So we could do hackathons. And we can, this is Grace, she's in 10th grade. She's teaching the police chief how to code right here. And it's the police open police data initiative. Maybe we could get out of these horrific challenges that we have with justice. These are all the different groups that are working together on this kind of open data. This is an example for you guys of people who already have kind of the future of work or trying to help people come into tech and innovation and new kinds of jobs in their local towns and different kinds of projects. And we did a whole tech jobs tour, went all over the country, kind of a festival of people meeting each other, doing speed mentoring. So you could have a conversation with someone. If you felt shy or felt nervous about how to join, you could ask questions and really make it so that it's welcoming to join. And I want Science Fair to feel that way for all of you, that Science Fair is not this punishing thing that you have to do that's like hard. It's actually challenging, but it's joyful. And it's about something you care about. And it's about solving problems in the world, like George Washington Carver, who went on a huge road rally after he invented ways to nitrogen fix the soil with peanuts. And he really saved the country from massive malnutrition with rotating crops, adding soybeans and peanuts and other things. So you would have a crop that was in the money, and he trained 1,000 farmers a month all over the country. The last thing I want to touch on is imbalance. And so our society is super imbalanced, and this graphic is one of the examples. There's this small piece down here, this is children's TV, and it's showing how men's lines to women's lines or boys to girls, that we have been making media and things where the men or the boys get to talk more or do more on screen. So this is 2,000 films. And so here's men's lines to women's lines. So that's the problem, because it's in our history, it's in our textbooks, it's on our TV. And so we have imbalance. So I want all of you to feel welcome and included. We want the boys and the girls. And I want to build your confidence by sharing that Ada Lovelace invented algorithms at the same time as Darwin. So women are very technical, men are very technical. Transgender and intersectional people are very technical. By the way, Ada had cool hair, looks a lot like Princess Leia. Ida did algorithms or did data science for justice in the late 1800s, and she won the Pulitzer Prize last year, 100 years late. She also protested the Chicago World's Fair for not letting African-American people show their amazing inventions and sculptures and other things back in Chicago in 1892. Jane Addams won the Nobel Peace Prize for inventing social work and used data science. You know, women did chemistry, and this is the work in the Charles River. The first time people started to measure water, just like the kid that I showed you, Swati, in the science fair, to make sure that we had healthy water in Boston, and then it led to sewage treatment and water treatment all over the country. So I'll just share this last thing, which is the very first penny in the United States said liberty, just like if you have a coin from the US today. But the first penny actually not only said liberty, but it said this, look at the round there, parent of science and industry. And so in the founding of the United States, people had this idea that, and President Washington told Congress, you know, there's nothing that better deserves your patronage than literature and science. This idea of all of the subjects and how they're equal. So there really were 4 women in space, including 2 women in color together. And so I hope you will have an amazing time with your projects that you do and what you find. And it's been a joy to have a chance to open the day and encourage us. Gloria Steinem once said, that she was so happy to be working with so many different people. She's an amazing women's rights leader, and she's in her 70s. And she said, sometimes you have to wait for your colleagues to be born. And so I am excited for the colleagues who are now in high school and those who will come and join us soon. And I'm looking forward to what projects you'll get up to. There's a lot to fix. And remember, do what you're passionate about. You'll be really good at it, and feel comfortable about teaming up and asking questions and all those things. So thanks, everybody.
Megan, that was such a great way to kick off the day. We recorded this so people can hear it. If people have questions for Megan, put them in the chat and we'll route them to her. I see we have some other amazing speakers. Elliot Roos is up next. He builds bionics. He's at University of Michigan. He and I went to India and worked on a project together. He used to work on Formula One cars. They would come into the pit and he single-handedly fixed them, I think, or maybe he was with a team. I see Atul Kelleher, who's an amazing head of mechanical engineering at Clemson, and he's speaking later. I also see Linnell Williams, who is going to be after Elliot here. I see Payush, who is with JPL, and he's going to be speaking later. I saw Mike Wilson. So we have a bunch of speakers here. Haley is going to be playing musical interludes between each speaker. And Megan, thank you so much for kicking us off. And if any students want to write a blog on today or listen to the recording, they can. I'm going to be switching my background. This is where Einstein lived, just to show that, you know, scientists can live in our neighborhood, and you too can be a scientist. So go science. So Haley, if you could play 60 seconds, and then now we're going to have Elliot tell us about bionics from his basement.
Why did you marry Father Time? Was it him who drew the line in the sand? Oh, Father, Father, there is dust in my hands, there's sleep in my mouth, and wildfire on my land. But you can't ask the mother of a mother of a mother of a mother for forgiveness. Forgiveness you can't ask the mother of a mother of a mother of a mother for forgiveness. Oh, 'cause history repeats itself, and if you run, she will chase you down. Can't ask the mother of a mother of a mother of a mother for forgiveness. Forgiveness. Oh, mother, why did you marry Father Time? Was it him who drew the line in the sand?
Great. Haley was Bostonian of the Year at 14. Next year, she's going to be living in Dachau, Germany as an artist in resident, writing folk songs about science. Ladies and gentlemen,